Let's look at what stories are making headlines today. And to analyze the stories with us, we're joined by Public Affairs Analyst Olusesan Okunade. Good morning. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Good morning and happy midweek.
I love it.
And let me just give compliment to your wear this morning. Both of you are looking sparkling.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're far too kind.
Yeah.
I counted down to the end of the month because salary week is around the corner.
Oh, that's a good way to
A
even
great
live
way
yourself.
Exactly. Let's start off with this Nigerian newspaper to see what the front page of the paper is saying. Jostle for power sets Jos on fire as police and 16 sacked lawmakers clash. Only 8 legislators will be allowed in Plateau Assembly until issues are resolved, says Speaker. And then in Ogun, 18 of 26 lawmakers impeach Olusesan over alleged embezzlement of funds, high-handedness as Emodi emerges Speaker. Alleged 4 billion naira fraud, EFCC to arraign ex-Anambra Governor Obiano today. South-South monarchs meet Tinubu over abandoned East-West road. Wike visits Kwali, restates plan to develop and secure 6 FCT area councils. Strengthens ties with 4 neighboring states over insecurity. Bans on painted taxis and buses in Abuja. And final story, 50% of Nigeria's dollar outflow in 2023 spent on foreign debt servicing, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. Of course, I think I'll ask you to first of all react to the 2 stories here that I want you to react to. The jostle for power that's happening in Plateau State and in Ogun State with the House of Assembly, and then with Obiano being arraigned today. Interesting, the ex-governor of Anambra State.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the part also that we have in Jos, the Plateau State and Ogun State. You ask yourself the question that the politicians that are actually being elected, are they there for the citizen or they are there for themselves? Because the question we need to ask, if you look at what the Speaker for Ogun State was actually being accused of, is about misappropriation of funds and high-handedness by him. And the question is, because there has not been serious punishment for those that have actually carried out misappropriation before now. So everyone sees it as business as usual. So you get in there, the first thing you look out for is, what do I get for myself and maybe the generation unborn? Because when you even make so much, you can have plea bargaining of taking so much billions and returning some millions and go ahead with the others. And those are part of the problem we feel has actually been the reason why most people get political offices, and the next thing they do is the funds that is actually allocated for the benefit of the citizen are found in the hands of individual. For the Jos crisis, it's been an issue that we've asked the judiciary to look into critically, because when you talked about some of these issues, it's about individual ego and what you start to gain. It's not about the citizen. We keep saying it. They might come out to say that we are out to satisfy the citizen, but you know some certain politicians, their position before they get to power and their position even after 2 years in office. We've seen instances where some people were sacked. After 2 years, they can even buy the state that they're actually governing. And you ask, where are all this coming from? And nobody is asking questions. And that's why, for me, I feel that most of the time when some of these issues come up, the anti-graft agency, EFCC, ICPC are empowered to actually go after those people. We need to reduce the corruption level that some of the politicians are actually engaged in. Because some of the funds you're talking about, people will say we don't have money, we keep paying debt. But the funds in the hands of certain individuals among government officials is enough to take care of our debts. I keep referring to, if you hear the humongous amount in the hands of the former Minister of Petroleum, it's enough to take care of more than 50% of our debt. That's just one citizen, not to talk of other politicians that are one way or the other served this nation. So I think I am holding the anti-graft agency. When you see issue of misappropriation of funds, corruption, how do we handle that? I have not seen any politician being jailed for misappropriation of funds, as far as I'm concerned. Most of the time, they will get into the police net, and after a while, you hear that they are out there recontesting for that particular post that they actually. So it's like if you are able to, if you see it, grab it. When you grab it, keep it to yourself and use it to fight the state back.
Is that the same thing you see happening in the case of Obiano, who will be arraigned?
Well, 4 billion. I keep telling the individual, if you look at the value they're talking, if you substantiate that value, it shouldn't be an issue of returning that value. We must calculate the interest over the period of time, because 4 billion as at the time when he left office, it's not the same as we speak. So if indeed it's substantiated that that amount was misappropriated and you need to refund it, then you should start paying with interest so that we can have good things to give back to the people that you have actually taken those money from. But like all other cases we've seen before now, I'm not too optimistic, pardon me, it's my personal view, that anything will come out of it, because most of the time we tend to pick those people, we don't have the fact to even challenge them. They come up, go to the judiciary, and we see them as free person moving. And you'll be surprised that in the next few years to come, Obiano might be contesting to be a senator. You know, when they leave as governor, the next thing we see is either you go to Senate.
And that's the retirement plan for most
most of the governors. So yes, even with so much of misappropriation of funds and allegation of corruption, you still see them out there. So I feel that when you even substantiate it, it's not enough to repay back that money. You must pay back with interest. We must be intentional about certain things to deter people of doing some of these things that they do when they have power or they are in position.
All right, just to quickly mention, the Ziani case is still allegations. She hasn't been charged with anything or said to have stolen anything in particular.
Well, it's an allegation and will continue to be an allegation. A lot of the politicians that we have, it's always an allegation. But the truth is, you will always see traces. I know you as an individual now, and we know your net worth. Is it the same net worth when they take office, they assume office, that they come out with? We know what individual salary and some of these things looks at least it's in the public domain. A lot of jewelries and some of those things that we saw. So it will continue to be an allegation for several years. And when you even substantiate it, how much of such funds are actually being refunded into government coffers, at least to take care of the welfare of the citizens that they claim they are living?
Well, we'll see how things turn out. Plateau State, of course, for clarity also, is not necessarily nobody's getting impeached. I think the issue there is the courts threw out 16 of their lawmakers, PDP lawmakers, claiming that PDP doesn't have structure in the state.
It's still with the judiciary for them to take decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's with their decision to know whether those other 16 will be restated.
But I think it's the appeal court. It entered the appeal court. The Supreme Court ruling wouldn't be able to influence, even if the Supreme Court reinstated them. But I think the matter entered the appeal court. Anyway,
you see a lot of confusion when it comes to all these court cases. Yeah. You can see what is actually happening in Rivers State, here and there. So we leave it in the hands of the judiciary to do the. But what we are concerned about is give the people the governance. At least let them feel the impact of democracy, and that's the reason why you're actually being elected.
Let's move to the Punch newspapers, see what we can find over there. Should be on your screen. It says here, kidnapping epidemic. Kano, 9 others, more death sentence, life jail. Kano, Benue, Anambra, others committed to death sentence for convicts, says officials. IG orders intelligence gathering on abductors and kidnappers. Landlords risk 20-year jail term. Also, Anthony Blinken meets Tinubu, pledges $45 million security fund for Nigeria and others. 2 arrested over man's death after hotel sex romp. INEC meets security agencies over February 3rd by-elections, and also 4 billion naira theft. The FCC arraigns Obiano today, aid defends ex-governor. We'll probably kick off, your thoughts on the death sentence or life imprisonment for kidnappers. Will that be an answer to, the problem?
Well, for me, I think it will be an answer if you're able to follow through. But most of the time, you ask yourself the question, the people that actually been apprehended, are they the real perpetrator of some of these acts? You've seen instances that you see the kidnappers and you ask, with all the businesses you've been doing, I listened to a video where somebody is saying, no, we have people we report to.
Yeah.
We are just the foot soldier. And you can even see on them that they are actually foot soldiers who do not have so much influence on the money or the ransom that they are actually are collecting. And that's why we said, don't just pick the perpetrator of this act, those that are behind the scene, influencing and providing even ammunition for them. We should actually run after them and see how we can bring those people. When you're able to get to the source, those that are actually giving them. You see, when you hold the managing director of an organization, I'm sure all the staff will start shivering. Yeah. So it's to tell you that those that are actually pushing them to do those things are the ones we should run after. We've had instances where we were told that we have list of terrorist sponsors, the Boko Haram sponsors in the last administration. Up till now, we've not seen a single list coming out. So most of the time, you discover that those that are the foot soldiers are the ones that you bring and you kill. But those that are recruiting them, you recruit another set of people to go and carry out that act. But I feel that you should put more pressure in making sure that we get to the sponsors of those acts, so that when you take the sponsors, those that they are sponsoring, you will be able to limit the act that they're going. I feel death sentence is the way to go for this. If you are able to reduce the number, even when you are being recruited, and you know that when they get hold of you, you are going to face the squaring score. It's enough for you to think twice to say, I don't think it's something that I want to venture into. But I think we need to have that so that we will not be killing innocent people. Why those that are actually perpetrating it? But if this starts, if you're starting this now, and in the next few months, you still discover that that is on the rampage, that means you are only killing innocent people and not the main perpetrator. So I feel that rather than picking the foot soldier, let them be able to give information about their sponsors. And with that, we are able to get this off our way, because a secured environment is a prosperous environment.
Yeah, okay. I think we can move on from the Punch. Not the rest of them aren't. I think we already spoke about Obiano, and I'm not sure if the rest of them are really huge stories. Let's move to
Nigerians
the Daily
lambasting Wiki for downplaying abduction and
Yeah, we already spoke about the abduction.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's quickly move to the Daily Independent, see if there's more interesting stories over there.
All right, on the front page of the Daily Independent, year-round elections putting pressure on INEC, according to Yakubu. PIA, Tinubu vows to strengthen investment in oil gas sector. 4 billion naira alleged fraud. EFCC to arraign Obiano today. Federal government seeks collaboration with Hungarian firm, plans aircraft manufacturing. Speaker's impeachment not targeted at governor. New Ogun Assembly Speaker. Blinken, holds bilateral meeting with Tinubu. Plateau Assembly, I won't swear in 16 appeal court endorsed lawmakers, says Speaker. Federal government receives National Values Charter blueprint. There shouldn't be special status for Lagos, according to Femi Okuno. And Tinubu meets South-South monarchs, reassures on completing East-West Road. I think we should talk about the year-round election putting pressure on INEC. Is this excuse enough as to the quality of elections that INEC has delivered? You know, and now what we're seeing, unfortunately, is that because INEC elections have been highly contested, we're having to see by-elections, we're seeing, reruns. So there's just election happening we had election in February last year. We're having another election by elections in February this year. So is this excuse good enough?
Yeah, well, to me, the approach of INEC to our election is actually not the best way to go. And you see, when the process is faulty, these are part of the things. Seeing staggered elections here and there, people challenging, right? Even if you and I contest today and I observe that you've defeated me, I'll still go to court. You see, some of the times we use this to hold on to our followers and capitalizing on the lapses that the umpire, which is INEC, has actually created with some of their commitment as at the time that you are actually going into the election. So this, for me, they've been talking about insecurity and all those things. But I've seen in time past that some of these staggered elections, when you actually come there, you discover that more security personnel will be deployed. I remember those days when they were to have the election in Anambra. It was as if it's not going to hold. The election came because the politicians themselves understand the individuals that they need, because they know what is at stake. If the election is not holding, that means nothing is going to happen in that particular. So this bylaw, the politician will know who to talk to to create the calmness. I'm sure you know the intense nature of insecurity while we're approaching the February election last year. I was thinking that majority of the aspirants then won't be able to go from one state to the other. But they all visited the 36 states, and we did not hear of any attack. So it's to tell you that the politicians understand it. If they are intentional about, reducing the level of insecurity, we have the best of it. INEC knows how to get the security apparatus, most especially when we have bylaw. You can be rest assured that 100,000 of law enforcement agency, paramilitary will be deployed there, and the election will come and it will go. After then, we have contests, people challenging the status quo at the court of law. I feel that we should enhance our election processes in such a way that it will be glaring, even when you lose out. Even when you want to win the sympathy of the citizen, it will be glaring to everyone that this election is nothing for you to challenge or contest, rather than wasting, I will call it wasting our finances in going and challenging things that can be actually used.
We spoke about this, just this morning, and I was saying that if INEC has not been able to own up that, to some extent, maybe a little, maybe a lot, it failed in the 2023 elections to provide the elections that Nigerians were expecting and the quality of elections that it promised Nigerians. How then do we expect that INEC will be able to improve on its process and do better in the future?
You see, the problem there is most of the time we speak so much and we don't act. And because there are no punishment when you fail in some of the promises that you've given, that's what we say there. You can, I can tell even something now, and the next minute, even if it's documented, I will misinterpret it. And the next thing I will ask you is go to court. Because I know that when you get to court, a lot of things will be, I will get my lawyer to actually defend my position there. So I feel that if our words should be abound, most especially those days, I remember when you have a document that you endorse, it becomes that you are pending your blood. If I go against it, I should be punished for it. But most of the time, when some of the people who are holding our offices failed in delivering what they are supposed to do, just like a lot of people are actually complaining about INEC election processes, we don't punish anyone. Yeah. So you will come, you will go, give excuses, and the next person will come and say, okay, this is the pattern. So let me get in there. I can give my promises. If I fail, I'll make excuses for myself, and nothing will happen. But I think we should be intentional in making sure that when people fail, even our politicians, when they fail in some of the promises that they give to the citizen, there should be serious punishment that will really about it. So that when everybody is going in there, you see that, that if I don't perform as expected, there are monitoring mechanisms of some of the things. But most of the time, they speak, they give it to us, and the next minute they come and say, I'm sorry, I gave that in under undue influence.
Even when they give us KPIs that they're not able to meet, how well can we even hold them to account?
Those are the things we must put those monitoring things in place, at least to checkmate their activities. And everybody going in, we know that they are in for business and not just business as usual.
Olusesan, thank you for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have had you this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.